You ever see a crypto token where half the internet is screaming it's the next moonshot and the other half is convinced it's about to absolutely tank? Well, that's exactly the story with the BNB Attestation Service, or BAS. Today, we're diving into the two completely different worlds that exist around this one single token.
All right, so let's jump right into the chaos. And the best place to see this in action is on social media, especially Binance Square. It is a full-on digital tug-of-war, with traders battling it out over where BAS is headed next.
So in one corner, you've got the bulls. They're looking at the charts, they see a huge 42% jump in just 24 hours, and they're shouting from the rooftops. This is just the beginning. They see all the signs, strong momentum, tons of buyers. It's a perfect setup for a long position, in their eyes.
And then, in the other corner, with the exact same amount of confidence, you have the bears. They see that same huge price pump and call it a trap. Their advice? Massive dump on the way. They're telling everyone to short it, right now, predicting the price is going to get sliced by more than half.
But it doesn't stop there. The bulls fire right back. Another trader sees what he calls a strong rebound, arguing that any little dip got eaten up by buyers instantly and that the bullish momentum is just getting started.
And just like that, the bears counter again. This trader points to a major rejection from the top, saying the whole structure has flipped bearish. It's just wild. You're watching a real-time showdown of completely opposite takes, all looking at the very same chart.
So this leads to the big question, right? How can one token split opinions so drastically? To really get it, we have to look past all the trading frenzy for a minute and understand what BAS was actually built for in the first place.
So let's talk about phase number one of BAS, the technology, the ambitious vision for a more trustworthy, verifiable internet. At its core, the idea behind BAS is actually pretty powerful. It's trying to solve one of the biggest headaches in Web3, trust. The whole point is to create a system that lets people and apps prove that something is true, without needing a central authority.
And the magic word here is attestation. Just think of it like a digital proof or a certificate of authenticity. BAS is basically a toolkit for creating and checking these proofs for, well, almost anything you can think of on the BNB blockchain.
And the process itself is surprisingly simple. First, a developer decides what needs to be proven. Say that you're over 18 or that a project has been audited. Then a digital proof, the attestation, is created. And this is the cool part. You, the user, get to decide whether to store that proof publicly on the blockchain or keep it private. You're in control.
So the big picture, the grand vision, is for BAS to be this foundational layer for Web3, something that enables digital identity, helps reduce fraud, and just builds a more reputable ecosystem. It has a clear stated purpose. But does any of that match what's actually happening in the market?
And that, my friends, brings us to the second phase of BAS. We're shifting gears from the promising tech right back to that market chaos we saw at the start.
And this slide just perfectly captures the disconnect. On one hand, you've got the official plan, a trust layer for the future of the internet. And on the other hand, the reality. It's a trader's playground, a high-risk token for people hunting for massive volatility and quick flips.
Now get this, these are two real trading plans posted online. One guy is bullish, the other is bearish. But look at their entry prices, they're almost identical. This just goes to show you how speculative this all is. It's not about long-term value, it's a pure, high-stakes bet on which way the price will whittle in the next few hours.
So why is the price so incredibly volatile? Well, this analysis from CoinMarketCap really hits the nail on the head. BASS is what you call a low-cap token with thin liquidity. In simple terms, that means there aren't many buy and sell orders waiting in the wings. So even a pretty small trade can send the price absolutely flying. Or crashing.
Okay, so let's put some hard numbers to this volatility because this is where it gets really interesting. So on one day, the price of BAS rockets up by over 52%. For any trader who timed that right, that is the dream. That's the huge fast profit they're chasing.
But, and this is a huge but, the very next day, it plummets by 28%, wiping out a massive chunk of those gains. This is the other side of that coin. What goes up like a rocket can come down just as fast.
Now look at this trading volume, nearly $200 million in one day. When you have that much money rushing in and out of a small token, you get what analysts call a liquidity crunch. It's like trying to funnel a river through a garden hose. It just magnifies every single price move and creates these insane swings.
And this isn't anything new for BAS. Its entire life has been a roller coaster. It started with a tiny presale, then immediately spiked thanks to pure trader hype, and it has been defined by these wild, unpredictable swings ever since.
So after seeing these two completely different sides of the BNB Attestation Service, where does that leave us? What's the final verdict?
Well, the reality is that BAS fits the classic profile of a small-cap alpha token. Any promising tech it has is, for now, totally overshadowed by the risks. You've got the extreme volatility, the thin liquidity, the potential for big players or whales to manipulate the price. It's a high-risk environment.
You know, I think this user on Binance Square just summed it up perfectly. Trading a token like BAS isn't really investing in the traditional sense. It's pure speculation. It's like buying a lottery ticket. Sure, there's a chance for a massive win, but there's a very, very real chance you could lose everything you put in. So look, whether you're a true believer in the long-term vision of BAS as a Web3 trust layer, or you just see it as a digital slot machine for a quick trade, there is one golden rule. This is the single most important thing to take away from all this. Never, ever invest more than you are truly willing to lose.